Well, cast your mind back to February last year and you may remember the excitement when NASA successfully landed its Perseverance rover on Mars.
Landing on Mars is like a dream, bringing joy to everyone who hears about it. When we heard touchdown confirmed, Perseverance safely on the surface of Mars, it was like a door to a new world opened. Mars, with its red dust and big secrets, makes us all wonder and guess what's next. It teases us with hints of old rivers and hidden ice, making us question everything we thought we knew. Have you ever thought about what secrets Mars is still hiding from us? Join us as we step into the unknown, ready for the surprises Mars will show us next. Exploring Mars' once lush past. A study not too long ago showed us yet another secret of Mars, ice hidden under its surface. But we shouldn't get too excited just yet. Mars has tricked us before. Signs of old rivers suggest a Mars that was once wet, maybe even lively. Thanks to the hard work of space probes and rovers, our space detectives, NASA has found evidence of Mars's wetter and more active past. These space detectives have uncovered the secrets Mars was keeping, seen in its landscape. Places where rivers, deltas, and lakes once were tell us about a time when water was common on what now seems like a dry planet. The Gale crater, examined by the Curiosity rover, shows a past where water was around much longer. These old water paths, now just hints of what once was, suggest a Mars that looked a lot like the early Earth, possibly with conditions that could have supported life. Discovering these places changed by water long ago makes us wonder, could Mars have had life? The dry, cold planet we see now might be hiding a livelier past under its empty look. As our machines on Mars keep digging deeper, we face each discovery with excitement, but also caution. Mars has shown us it's full of surprises. The latest news from NASA's Curiosity rover could seem to completely change our understanding of Mars, suggesting not just new insights into Mars's history, but also making those who dream of aliens a bit more hopeful. This buzz in the science world is about finding organic molecules on Mars, a discovery that's very exciting but doesn't directly prove life existed there. It's more of a hint at what might have been or what we might still find hidden on Mars. The discovery of these organic materials, which we often refer to as the essential elements of life here on Earth, found within the rocks and dust of Mars, makes the story of the possibility of life on Mars even more fascinating. This story is filled with a lot of what-ifs and possibilities, presenting a version of Mars that hints it might have once had conditions suitable for life. Yet it doesn't provide any solid proof that life ever existed there. These molecules, while they spark a lot of interest, leave us with more questions than answers about what Mars was like in the past. On our planet, such organic substances are closely linked with life, playing a critical role in the life and continued survival of living beings. However, the story is different on Mars. The origin of these materials is shrouded in mystery, lost over time. This mysterious discovery makes us wonder whether these molecules are leftovers from a time when life might have thrived on Mars, or if they are simply the result of non-living processes that have nothing to do with the exciting idea of past life on Mars. Some people might think that in our eagerness to find signs of life beyond Earth, we are just clutching at thin air, especially when we don't have clear evidence. The discovery is indeed important, but it also encourages a healthy level of doubt, making us question not only the possibility of life on Mars, but also the methods we use to search for it. It makes us wonder if we are too hopeful, interpreting these molecules as signs of life, when they could just be the outcome of natural non-living processes. However, this doubt doesn't lessen the significance of the discovery. It reminds us of how much we still don't know in our quest to understand the universe and our place in it. The finding of organic molecules on Mars by NASA's Curiosity rover pushes the limits of our knowledge, urging us to dive deeper, question more thoroughly, and consider all the possibilities of life beyond Earth. It highlights that when it comes to understanding life and its possible forms outside our planet, we are just scratching the surface. Mars has become a key focus in the search for life outside Earth, painted as a potential home for life beyond our world. But this exciting idea is built on a foundation of guesswork, balanced between hopeful thinking and the sobering realities of scientific doubt. The finding of signs that Mars might have had environments capable of supporting life tells fascinating stories of a time when Mars could have been a sanctuary for life forms. This suggestion drives our curiosity further, pushing us to think about the chance that Mars wasn't always the empty, lifeless place we see today. As we investigate more, each bit of Martian dirt seems to whisper secrets, enticing us to look more closely, listen more intently, and contemplate what secrets lie beneath its red surface. We're exploring why its methane levels change, which might suggest life exists beyond Earth. The puzzling dance of Martian methane. The mystery surrounding the changing methane levels on Mars is a fascinating topic that intrigues many scientists. The Curiosity rover from NASA, while exploring different parts of Mars, has found unexpected and sudden increases in the amount of methane gas. This gas is interesting because, on our planet, it's often produced by living things. The discovery has sparked a lot of discussion and debate among scientists. Some think that the methane might be a sign that tiny life forms exist under Mars's surface, playing and living in their own microscopic world. Others believe the methane could come from simple chemical reactions between water and rocks, or from bits of space rock breaking down. The situation gets even more interesting with the methane levels changing with the seasons, suggesting Mars is a planet where things are constantly happening, hinting at the thrilling possibility of life. However, figuring out the truth is not straightforward. Additionally, there's the fascinating history of Gale Crater, which looks like a scar from a vast lake that existed long ago when Mars might have been more welcoming to life. The Curiosity rover has found signs of complex minerals and organic compounds in the soil, which are like clues suggesting that Mars could have supported life in the distant past. Yet these clues are not definitive proof of life. Instead, they make us think more deeply about our own existence and how unique Earth might be in the universe. The recent discovery of large amounts of ice on Mars adds another layer to the ongoing exploration story. This ice is seen as a critical resource for future missions to Mars, and possibly for supporting human colonies there. It also fuels the hope that Mars might have hosted life forms in the past. However, we have to be careful not to let our desire to find life elsewhere make us jump to conclusions too quickly about what we find on Mars. In this journey of discovery on Mars, every finding opens new questions and possibilities, making us rethink what we know about life and its ability to exist in different environments. As we dig into the Martian soil, we might find answers that challenge our ideas about life and its presence in the universe. But we must proceed with caution, as our wish to discover extraterrestrial life could lead us to see signs of life where there might be none, or miss it because we're only looking for life as we know it on Earth. Mars continues to be a mysterious and intriguing world, a puzzle that keeps us guessing and reminds us of the vast unknowns beyond our planet. Beneath its unexciting and dusty appearance, Mars holds a secret that sounds like something out of a science fiction story. Huge amounts of water ice frozen and hidden mostly around its cold polar caps and just under its empty-looking surface. This surprising fact, found thanks to our high-flying satellites and the brave landers that have touched Mars's red ground, may initially seem like great news. The presence of water ice on Mars hints at the exciting idea that it could support human life in the future on its old and strange ground. This ice is not just interesting to look at, it's seen as a vital resource, a treasure chest offering drinkable water, air to breathe, and even fuel for a successful journey back home. Moreover, this pile of ice challenges what we currently think about the climate and geology of Mars, indicating that Mars, much like Earth, has gone through significant climate changes. Exploring these ice deposits could give us hints about Mars's past ability to support life, and maybe its ability to support future human settlers. This frozen water is not merely ice, it's viewed as a crystal-clear record of Martian history and a sign pointing towards future space exploration. However, one could skeptically question if this focus on ice and possible livability is hiding the huge challenges and moral questions about making a home on a lifeless planet. Mars's atmosphere is just as fascinating, being a thin, almost ghostly layer of gases that changes dramatically with the seasons. The MAVEN mission from NASA has revealed these changes, showing that gases like carbon dioxide, nitrogen, and argon change much more than they do on Earth with the seasons. In the Martian winter, a big part of the atmosphere turns into ice at the poles, but then turns back into gas when spring and summer come. This process is interesting, but shows how different Mars's climate system is from Earth's. It works on a much larger scale and in ways that are very different from our home planet. This finding reminds us of how dynamic and sensitive the Martian climate is, offering important insights but also raising questions about Mars's capacity to support life as we know it. The movement of gases on Mars gives us a peek into a world that feels somewhat known yet completely foreign, highlighting the complex relationship between Mars's surface and its atmosphere. The story of Mars possibly being a planet once full of water is made even more complex by evidence of what might have been a huge ocean, covering its northern hemisphere. Supported by various pieces of evidence from Mars's exploration missions, this idea suggests an early Mars that might have been warm enough to hold a massive body of water, quite different from its current dry state. The thought of an ocean, possibly bigger than Earth's Arctic Ocean and with more water than all the Great Lakes of North America put together, adds more mystery to Mars, suggesting it was once a place that could have supported life. Now, we're exploring the idea that Mars once had a big ocean, aiming to understand its major changes. Chronicles of a Vanished Ocean and the Dreams of Renewal. This story about the mysteries of the ocean-like vastness of Mars serves as a touching reminder of how much the climate on Mars has changed. It teases us with just a small look into what Mars might have been capable of in terms of supporting life, as well as the major changes it has gone through. However, the way we tend to romanticize these signs of ancient life as if they were hints in a treasure hunt often makes us overlook the very real difficulties and massive challenges that come with trying to explore or even think about living on such an unwelcoming planet. Our deep interest in Mars's history and the possibility of people living there in the future shows how endlessly curious and ambitious we are. Yet this curiosity often covers up the tough realities of moving to another planet with a hopeful and somewhat speculative outlook. As our understanding of Mars keeps growing, we see Mars, a planet we once thought was as dead and unchanging as a fossil, in a new light thanks to recent discoveries. The Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter, with its incredibly sharp vision, has shown us images of Mars that are very different from the empty and lifeless place we used to imagine. These pictures from our space watcher show us the beauty of patterns that change with the seasons, suggesting that water might flow there at certain times, and sand dunes that move, proving that the winds on Mars are still shaping its surface. This lively activity on Mars breaks our old idea of the planet as nothing more than a dead rock. It shows us a Mars that's still alive and changing, shaped by winds, temperature changes, and sometimes even water. These changes aren't just for show, they give us clues to understanding Mars's climate and atmosphere. Going deeper into what makes Mars so fascinating, the discovery of chemicals called perchlorates in the soil by NASA's Phoenix lander and others reveals a complex picture. These chemicals could both hint at the possibility of life, showing us that Mars, despite its harsh surface, might have been home to tiny forms of life. But these same chemicals also pose a big problem for people who might try to explore Mars in the future, reminding us how unwelcoming the planet is. Mars tells its own story through its landscape, marked by the passage of time, revealing a history as rich and diverse as our own. From the towering Olympus Mons to the vast canyons of Valles Marineris, the planet's surface is filled with stories of volcanic eruptions and the movement of its crust. The hints of water found in Gale Crater tell us of a time when Mars might have had different climates, showing us a planet that has worn many faces over millions of years. This complex history invites us to see Mars not just as a distant object in space, but as a living character in the story of the universe, reflecting the wild early days of our own planet. The dream of transforming Mars into a habitable world meets a challenging obstacle in the form of its soil's chemistry. Hidden within the dust of Mars are perchlorates, silent chemicals that pose a significant threat to the idea of human settlement on the planet. These substances are not just a slight problem. They are a major hurdle in the quest to make the red planet our second home. The presence of perchlorates complicates what would otherwise seem like simple tasks, such as growing crops or obtaining water, adding a layer of complexity to the story of space travel. The fact that Mars has perchlorates reminds us that traveling between planets is filled with unforeseen challenges. It opens up a wide area for study in astrobiology, but at the same time, it creates obstacles for human missions to Mars. Mars showcases a history of chaos and transformation, evident in its surface features marked by signs of ancient volcanic eruptions. These natural events have left behind a landscape covered in lava and ash. The largest of these remnants from the past is Olympus Mons, a volcano so massive that it dwarfs the mountains on Earth. This giant, along with other regions like Tharsis and Elysium, hints at a time when Mars was a planet bursting with volcanic activity and not the cold, empty place we see today. These extinct volcanoes are not just awe-inspiring sights. They are key to unlocking the secrets of Mars's past, including its thermal and geological changes. The thought that volcanic actions might have once made Mars more welcoming excites scientists. It suggests a planet that could have been suitable for life, warm and filled with water. Moreover, the surface of Mars serves as a record of the solar system's tumultuous history, with each crater acting as evidence of violent events. Places like Hellas Planitia and the numerous smaller craters scattered across Mars tell the tale of a planet that has been constantly bombarded by space debris. This constant shower of cosmic material has shaped Mars, affecting its atmosphere and surface, and possibly its ability to support life. The craters, with their unique layers and signs of erosion, are not just marks on the planet's surface. They are valuable tools for scientists trying to understand Mars's history and past environments. One of the most fascinating aspects of Mars are the meteorites that have made their way from the red planet to Earth. These pieces of Mars, ejected by collisions long ago, act as direct samples of the planet, giving scientists a chance to study Mars's makeup, its history, and the intriguing possibility of life existing beyond our planet. Martian meteorites like ALH 84001 have stirred excitement and debate among researchers, raising the prospect of finding evidence of life in their ancient stones. These space-borne rocks, alongside the information gathered by rovers and satellites, enhance our knowledge of Mars, drawing us closer to this distant, mysterious world. Our next goal is to study Mars's rocks to learn about its watery past and the possibility of life. Chasing water in the red planet. The exciting discovery of minerals on the red planet that only appear with water hints at Mars with a story much richer than the barren frozen desert we see now. The work of rovers like Curiosity and Opportunity has been groundbreaking. They have found minerals like hematite, gypsum, and clay, which tell us that Mars was once very different. These minerals form in water, suggesting that long ago, Mars might have had environments with lakes and rivers. And maybe it even had the right conditions for life to exist. The fact that we're finding minerals created by water on Mars is a huge hint that the planet used to have a wetter and more lively climate. This makes the idea of Mars as a place where humans could live in the future even more interesting and complex. As scientists dig deeper into the mysteries of Mars, they're getting really excited about what the planet's ground can tell us about its welcoming past. They're hopeful, thinking that the ancient waters on Mars were just right for life, possibly making the planet a cozy place for life to start. This new thinking adds more layers to our stories about Mars's wet past and gives scientists studying life in space new places to look for signs of ancient life. The discovery of these signs of old water in Martian rocks is making us rethink Mars. Instead of seeing it as just a dead world, we might start seeing it as a place where life could have started. This big change in how we see Mars is driven by hope and the little evidence we're starting to find. Then there's the story of Mars's famous dust storms, which have become almost like stars in the story of the planet's weather. These storms can be small whirlwinds or huge storms that cover the whole planet, and they're both beautiful and powerful. The biggest dust storms can hide Mars under a thick coat of dust, which is a big problem for the robots we send there and a warning of the challenges people will face if we try to live there. The dust in the air can block the sun from reaching the solar panels that power our rovers. These storms also heat up and mix the planet's atmosphere, showing they're a big part of what shapes Mars's weather and a big hurdle for future explorers. The story of Mars also includes how it's losing its atmosphere, a slow process that's stripping away the planet's air because it doesn't have a magnetic field to protect it from the solar wind. This story of loss, shown by missions like NASA's MAVEN, tells us Mars used to be capable of having a warmer and wetter environment. It's a clear sign of how the forces of the universe are constantly at work, slowly changing Mars into the cold, empty place we see now. This loss, especially of lighter gases, is a powerful reminder of how delicate the balance of planetary environments is in the face of space's challenges. The story of how sunlight and radiation affect Mars adds another big challenge to the dream of people living there. The very high levels of radiation that meet anyone brave enough to land on the red planet highlight how unfriendly and dangerous the space outside our comfortable Earth is. This ongoing attack of cosmic rays doesn't just make it harder to find life, but also shows us the huge hurdles in protecting future space travelers from the unseen risks present in the daylight of Mars. The excitement around the journeys of the Curiosity rover and how it withstands radiation hides the tough truth about Mars being very unwelcoming. It's a reminder that the journey to living on other planets is filled with problems we're far from solving. In this big, exciting story of exploring Mars, mixing scientific findings with a bit of skepticism and a reality check gives us a better understanding of our neighboring planet. This tale is made from a mix of hope, big dreams, and the tough truths of space, reminding us that trying to learn about and maybe visit Mars is as much about facing what we can't do as it is about following our dreams of reaching the stars. Oh, the great effort of looking into the mysteries of the dusty red lands of Mars, led by the radiation assessment detector and its constant watch over the levels of radiation on Mars's surface. This big task of checking space carefully shows an uncomfortable truth. Mars, with its very thin airs and lack of a global magnetic field, is wide open to cosmic rays and bursts of solar energy. The information we've gathered shows a worrying picture where the levels of radiation laugh at what we on Earth think is safe. This discovery is a big problem for the hopeful idea of sending people to enjoy the Martian landscape. It means that any trips there in the future will have to solve the huge problem of making radiation-safe clothes for living there and for spacewalks. Trying to lower these dangerous levels of radiation is a big step we must take on our way to Mars, making sure that astronauts don't end up shining brighter than Mars's two moons, Phobos and Deimos. After finding water-related minerals on Mars, we know it used to be bustling. Now we're focusing on Mars' everyday life, including rover photos, as we try to connect with this far-off planet. Crafting characters from machines. Then, in an interesting twist in the middle of Mars's wide and empty landscapes, rover selfies have become a sign of human creativity and fun. These selfies, made by putting together different images to make it look like these robot wanderers have faces, have caught the imagination of people everywhere. It's as if, through these combined photos, these robots have been given a bit of human spirit, making the cold, strange distance of Mars and the curious eyes of people on Earth come together. Curiosity, Perseverance, and their robotic friends have really become experts at taking selfies, using their robotic arms to take pictures that any social media influencer would be proud of. These photos, set against Mars's scenery, from its reddish plains to the remains of ancient lakes and the bottoms of huge volcanoes, do two things. For science, they let the experts back on Earth check how these space travelers are holding up. For the public, they turn these machines from just remote-controlled devices into main characters of a big story, heroes in an adventure that stretches across space. These rover selfies, in their simple charm, make the mission seem less about complex technology and more like a story that makes millions of people on Earth care. The rovers, with their camera eyes and arms, become characters we feel for, bold explorers on their own, pushing human curiosity and reach into the stars. And then, let's talk about Mars. Mars is a fascinating planet, well known for its striking, barren landscape. However, visiting Mars means facing extremely harsh temperature changes. It's a place where the temperature swings wildly, creating a scene that's both captivating and unwelcoming. During the day, the sun shines so intensely on Mars's surface that you might briefly think it's warm enough for water to exist in liquid form. But when night falls, Mars shows its true colors as a very cold planet. The temperatures drop so sharply that even the coldest places on Earth seem warm in comparison. This severe change in temperature every day presents a big challenge. It's not just a problem for the robots we send to explore Mars, but also for people who dream of living there among its desolate yet beautiful landscapes. Instruments like the Mars Environmental Dynamics Analyzer and the temperature and winds for insight give us valuable information. They help satisfy our curiosity and highlight the massive challenges we face in our quest to set foot on Mars. The extreme cold is more than just a minor issue. It's a clear sign of how different and indifferent Mars is to our presence, despite any similarities it may have with Earth. In this vast universe, any material that we plan to send to Mars, whether for equipment or living spaces, must be able to withstand a very unfriendly environment. This is not just about choosing the strongest materials like in some sort of extreme survival competition. It's about deeply understanding a planet where temperature changes are so dramatic, they put Earth's most unpredictable weather to shame. This knowledge isn't just for the sake of science. How Mars's ground keeps or loses heat is crucial. It gives us hints about whether water could exist as a liquid, which could mean the planet might support life in some form. But there's an unexpected turn in the story of Mars. Even though Mars doesn't have the tectonic plates that cause earthquakes on Earth, it experiences Marsquakes. This might not seem like big news to most people, but for those who pay close attention to the details of planetary science, it's a big deal. It shows that Mars, which seems quiet and unchanging, actually has a lot of activity going on inside it. NASA's InSight lander, equipped with its SEIS seismometer, is like a therapist for Mars. It's there to listen to the planet's inner rumblings and quakes, uncovering the secrets of its dynamic interior. The surface of Mars is experiencing shakes and shivers, ranging from barely noticeable tremors to stronger shakes that measure about 4 on the Richter scale. These shakes reveal a lot about Mars, showing us it's in a kind of midlife transformation. The planet is cooling down, getting smaller, and experiencing a lot of pressure, leading to cracks forming across its surface, similar to how the top of a well-cooked loaf of bread might crack. While some of this shaking could be due to meteors hitting the planet, or maybe even old volcanoes coming back to life, these events allow us a special look into the inner parts of Mars that we wouldn't see otherwise. When Mars shakes, it creates seismic waves that travel all through its inside, drawing a picture of Mars's hidden layers. This isn't just random noise. It's like a carefully composed piece of music that tells us about how thick the planet's crust is, what makes up its middle layer, and the mysteries of its core. Think of it as a medical scan for the planet, showing us the different layers and telling a story of Mars's heat-related adventures and its journey through time. Looking into the quakes on Mars isn't just for fun or out of curiosity. It's a way to compare and learn, creating a conversation between Mars, Earth, and our other rocky space neighbors. By listening to the rhythms of Mars, scientists are hoping to uncover the fundamental processes of how planets change and develop over time. So studying Martian quakes is a big deal in the story of space exploration, offering a unique story that connects us through the vastness of space right to the heart of Mars. Through this process, we're not just watching a planet from far away, we're putting together the story of our place in the universe. We ponder our cosmic significance as we delve into Mars's enigmatic realms. But does this quest connect us with Mars or underscore Earth's delicate balance? Like, comment, and subscribe to explore more.